basically just start telling my mommy stories. A lot of my friends were asking me, well, Sylvia, how do you do this? Sylvia, how do you do this? So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to use one of these platforms and we're going to see what we're going to do. If people come on live or not, I just wanted to be able to do something to start the conversation about how I started as a mom, how I did as a mom, and how I'm doing as a mom, and what I'm going to be doing as a mom. Now, a little bit about me. In the mommy realm, I was a single mom starting at 24, and I raised 3 children that I know of in the city of Detroit. And I went through trials and tribulations, and this is kind of like my journey into it. So today's topic will be about how I did $100 to $150 a month in food costs without starving a family of 4. A lot of times you're going to see me looking sideways because there's my notes on my remarkable keypad. I could put it in front of me, but it just feels kind of weird. I don't know. I might. We'll see. So, story time. I was making probably about $9 an hour back in, not even $9 at that time. I got a divorce. I was getting separated at the time of my first husband, and me and the kids lived in a 1-bedroom home. And I wasn't making $9 then at the time, but I had decided at that point I needed to put my life together in terms of financial, family, and just all around everything. But financial and family was very important. And even though we were on poverty level, I was not going to live like we were in poverty level. It wasn't about faking it till I made it. It was basically about making sure that things were put in place so I could be a better provider to my kids. So we did a budget. Every time any money I got in, I budgeted. And I want to just do a shout out to Gail Perry Mason, who wrote Girl, Make Your Money Grow. I believe that's the book. I'll leave it in the comments or something. But it was really empowering, and then following her on social media really gave me that threshold of how to save money and how to budget and know where things were going. So as a single mom, making only like $8 an hour, and I was not getting child support. I was not on the system. The kids were, I think the only aid we really got at the time was maybe WIC. Yeah, we got WIC, and we got Focus Hope, which is a nonprofit where you could go in and pick certain groceries out. It was kind of like before Gleaners became popular, it was kind of like that, but you could go in and pick out groceries that your family needed, and it was just access from donated by companies and stuff like that. So I would do that, but we'll get into that in a second. But I knew that the financial strain of feeding a family of 3 without food stamps was gonna be really terrible, but I needed to prepare for that. So I always follow a mantra of plan, pray, parent at all times, and I plan for the worst. I pray I pray in expectancy, and I parent everybody, including the children and myself. So as I put this budget together, I knew the needs of the kids would come first, and then the needs of the household would come second, and then of course, as any mommy would do, her needs would come last. No, I'm not gonna tell you and sit here and say, oh, we ate good and everything. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. I had shortcuts, and I'm gonna tell you those shortcuts. But we did what we could, and that was the best part of it, is that I did what we could with what I had. So with a budget of, from after my check was done, I usually had a food budget of between $100 to $150 a month. That was with both checks. I would get bi-weekly checks. That's with both checks coming together, and I would split those up. So of course, the simple stuff is you have to have a list at all times. And I basically had a big list of on the refrigerator of what, we would buy, the grocery list and everything. And I would keep to this list, and basically the kids had probably the same thing. And I'm going to tell you another funny story when we get done with this. So we're going to go with, so get your notepads out. This is what I do when I do my writing lectures and stuff. I tell the students, get your notepads out, because I'm about to start dropping knowledge bombs. If you are in a predicament, and as we have growing inflation now, I think this, being in this situation in the past, has prepared me for this situation now. So if you are in this situation now where you are struggling and your household is struggling with food, I think these tips will help. Now, I'm not going to say they're the answer to your prayers, and there were some shortcuts. I'm not going to sit up here, oh yeah, you should do this. Other than anything illegal or the child services coming out for you, I don't think I did anything to that extreme. But I'm going to tell you, there were a lot of shortcuts. So be prepared to be like, oh my gosh, no, she didn't. Yes, I did. So, and I'm doing this, the first one, I decided this one as the first one is because with the rising food costs, and it really has gotten people scared. And I'm going to tell you, from even now in the present, from 2000 to 2022 now, our food cost has gone up by $50. And I know this because I keep track of everything, and my husband eats the same thing all the time. It never changes. My new husband, I'm sorry, my second husband, my current husband, eats the same thing all the time. So I know, like, it hasn't changed, and then things have also gotten smaller, so I've had to even prepare for that. But in the past, I did devise a way to keep the cost low, and it didn't involve coupon clipping, because I was a single mom. Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm just saying it for me. Maybe you do, but I was working a full-time job. I was a full-time author. I was writing books, and I was running a literary organization. And it wasn't like I was making buku money, and the money I did make was either going towards the household or going towards the business. And that secondary business, that literary business, was my second income that helped keep us afloat to pay my benefit bills and things like that. I didn't have sugar daddies, and I didn't have food stamps. So this is how I did it on my own, just with the good brain that God gave me. And like I said, a lot of planning, praying, and parenting. So if you got your notebooks, let's get ready. So the first thing I did was I had three, I always had 3 good filling meals that I prepared. I don't know why it went dim. So I had 3 good filling meals that I prepared. See, now I'm scared. Is it live?